Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining ChemAnalyst's second webinar session in this series. We aim to hopefully provide timely insights on how the ongoing Middle East conflict is influencing the global chemical market. Now, in today's session, our focus is going to be on the global polymer market, where we'll explore questions like how the conflict is impacting the pricing across regions, which markets are most affected, and what can be expected in the near term. Through this initiative, we hope to equip you with better information and a clearer understanding of the market dynamics to help you make more informed strategic decision making. Now, for today's discussion, we're joined by Ravinder Kumar, our Insights team lead, who'll be leading the session and sharing detailed market analysis. Before I hand it over, I'd also like to mention that if you missed our previous webinar on feedstock supply chains, the recording is available on ChemAnalyst's LinkedIn page and YouTube channel. With that, over to you, Ravinder.
Thank you, Mark. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. And let's start with the webinar now. Before we proceed further, I would like to tell you what are we going to discuss in this session. First of all, we will start from the basic overview of the war, related issues, and the latest development, what has been happening on the Strait of Hormuz, and what is the current situation there. However, I'm not talking about most of the geopolitics here. And my main focus will be on value chain, supply chain of polymers in the global market. Okay, so I'll just share the presentation here. All right. I hope it is visible now. Is it, Mark?
Yes, it is. Go ahead, Ravinder.
All right, thank you. Okay, so as I said earlier, that we will be going to discuss only about the polymer supply chain in this webinar session, and no much geopolitics or regarding war related situation will be discussed here. However, we will start from it, and our primary objective is to understand the supply chain, like how the war has impacted the supply chain till now, who are the countries, who are the region has been affected the most, and what is the near-term strategic decisions you can take after this webinar session. So, here is the latest development, as I mentioned earlier, we will be discussing. First is the container traffic shift. Iran is allowing ships of friendly countries to pass through Strait of Hormuz, which has resulted in improvement in container traffic since the war has started. It was critically low when the war was initially started, but now it has been improved since the Iran started allowing countries, friendly countries, to pass through their vessels. Next, most of the countries have denied US President Donald Trump's call on sending naval ship to secure Strait of Hormuz. Recently, Donald Trump tried to call people, like not people, the president of different countries, the allies of USA, to send naval ship to secure Strait of Hormuz, but most of the countries have denied so far. Next, Iran has recently targeted UAE, Shah gas field and Fujairah oil zone, which has increased uncertainties in already uncertain global crude oil market. This is the latest development I wanted to talk about. Now let's go further. As we know already, Strait of Hormuz is one of the critical choke points, followed by other states like Malacca, Suez Canal, Bab al-Mandeb, and this conflict has already threatened two of them, including Strait of Hormuz and Bab al-Mandeb Strait. If I show you here, Strait of Hormuz is already in the choke point zone where ships have already been choked, but there is other strait that is called Bab al-Mandeb Strait here, which goes to Strait Suez Canal, And here, this has also been threatened by the Houthi rebels recently. However, no new attacks or anything like this has happened recently, but it is a critical issue which analysts have been thinking about. So now let's talk about the dependency of different countries on Strait of Hormuz, so that the picture will be clear on why all of the Asia is so disturbed due to a single choke point. As you see in the first graph here, this is overall percentage share of crude and other petrochemical exported through Strait of Hormuz. Saudi Arabia takes the largest share, followed by Iraq, UAE, Kuwait, and Qatar. Thus, this strait is the economic backbone of Middle Eastern countries. In the second paragraph, in the second graph here, while you see the second graph, you will observe China, India, South Korea, and Japan are highly dependent on to import from Middle East, which uses the Strait of Hormuz for trade. Therefore, Asia has come out the most affected region due to this conflict, which you will see when I'll be talking about price change in the polymers in the upcoming slides. This is the crude oil benchmark. The energy prices, which we already know that the prices have risen sharply since the war has started, and crude oil prices have already breached $100 mark in recent days. I think within 15 days, crude oil prices have have crossed actually the $100 mark, which is something most of us are already aware. So let's not talk about much about this, and let's go forward from here. Now the main things comes, that is the naphtha. Naphtha, which is the major building block of polymer, and the polymer volume value chain actually built from naphtha, and it has observed a steep incline in past couple of weeks. If you see here in Asia, Asia is the region which has been impacted the most in recent days. And if you'll see here, the $386 per metric ton, that is comes around 63% price change, comparing the price in the last week of February and to mid of the March. That means the 2 weeks of time frame, the prices have increased by 63%. That is the $386 per metric ton. However, despite Asia being got affected the most, but not other regions are behind. Because if you see the America and the Europe, the price changes is also very high. If I talk about Europe, Europe has observed 47% price increase, and America has observed 49% of price increase during the last 15 days, which is huge for a polymer supply chain and value chain. And this slide shows how the value chain is getting affected. This crisis has directly hit crude oil market, which has induced the pressure on naphtha supplies and conversion margins. While at the end, olefins polymer are struggling due to high costs and logistical delays. Like indirect impact you can see on olefins and polymers, but directly it has affected the crude oil market. Then it comes to naphtha and LPG. As you might have seen, the LPG crisis in Asia, and behind it, naphtha prices have also been rising consistently, and it has affecting the polymer supply chains. And some analysts recently have seen that the price increase might go forward to people, the common people, and they might feel they might start feeling high inflation rate if this situation remains the same for a longer period of time. Now let's discuss the feedstock, come to the propylene and ethylene prices trend across the global market. You can see the prices of propylene has risen sharply in most of the countries. If you see here, the price change has been prominent here, but the price change in the Saudi Arabia, you will see here, is the sharpest in the past couple of weeks, and followed by other countries like China, Germany, and then USA. It is been seen that the USA has come out of a country that has been affected the least in comparison to the other regions. That I will prove after I will be talking about the polymer market in upcoming slides. So uh, same price trend is observed in the ethylene market as well. This shows this, and in this price change, you will see USA did not get affected as much as other countries did. US player might be considering this as an advantage or the opportunity to make profit.
Hey, Ravinder, as you discussed about those prices, about the high feedstock, how's this impacting the polymer producers? Is it just about their margins, or is it about something else as well?
Well, of course, this is about margins, but there is something else as well we can say. Prices are not just rising, traders have also stopped providing quotations on spot purchases. For example, our analysts recently had a discussion on EVA prices, EVA or EVA, ethylene vinyl chloride, vinyl acetate, sorry, and the prices with a couple of traders, and most of them have denied giving quotation from China to India. That is the serious issue. That means you are not just getting expensive cargoes, but also in some cases you cannot procure anything at all. This is something the analyst and the market participant are worried about, that people are not just getting higher prices, but also unable to procure cargoes on higher prices as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Let's go further. Okay. So now the question comes, why this is happening? So we can see here in this slide, as per CAMANALYST database, we have identified more than 30 force majeure, 32 to be precise, force majeure and partial production cuts on different refineries across the global market. This is the primary reason behind no quotation and lag in deliveries. As per our estimate, with these cuts, capacities have already reached below 45%, which is below half than the normal supplies, and we might see the impact of these cuts in coming days. Even in the best case scenario, if the ceasefire announced, and the impact of these production cuts likely to remain for weeks or for months in some cases. Like if some plant in the Middle East have directly struck with drones attack and missiles, so those plants won't be able to start producing within a month or within a couple of months. It will take a longer period of time to start producing at a normal scale. And you can see here, and if you see the next slide, uh, if you see the closely, these shutdowns are not just limited to Middle East and Asia. If you see closely, several European production facilities have also been affected. In the plant shutdown list, you will see Singapore, China, Thailand, Taiwan, India, Vietnam. These are the Asian countries. You will see they have a plant shutdown, so the force majeure due to the shortage of feedstock supplies or the future strategies. They are cutting down their production. But there are also other production plant in Germany, in Netherlands, and Poland. These plants have also reduced their run rate, or either they have shut down their production facilities for 25 days or a month, just because of the shortage of feedstock supplies, because the Middle East is the one of the major source of feedstock, including crude oil, including naphtha, and other downstream derivatives as well. So now let's come to other logistics part. Now let's see logistics and freight. As you can see in the freight wall, here is the freight wall. Freight costs have risen significantly in major trade routes, especially Rotterdam and Jeddah. If you see here, the red dot in between, where the freight have risen by around 250%. This is huge. Saudi Arabia is observed to be the highly affected country in terms of freight. Prices have skyrocketed already. If the cargoes is coming from Europe, and however, via USA, you will see here, freight rates have not seen much of a change. This indicates, see, this is the New York, Houston, Los Angeles, and to Jeddah. The prices have not changed as much as it is changed in other trade routes here. So here as well, as I was saying previously, the USA can be a beneficiary or the benefiting from this war situation or the crisis, you can say. So, however, this indicates Asia is not just affected by high production costs, but also by high freight charges. This incident has unveiled the vulnerability of Asia and its dependence on single source of multiple products that these countries might have to change in coming years. Now let's come to the main part as we started this webinar for. This is the polymer prices here, and if we see closely, you will see the same pattern of price change. See, acrylate change, if we talk about, that is the butyl acrylate has observed the major price change here, the highest, that is the 56.67% for butyl acrylate in Asian market. That is not in Europe, that is not in Middle East, that is not in America, that is happening in Asia. As I said earlier, the crude, the crisis, the war crisis has affected the Asia most. And
So, yeah, Ravinder, I have another question. A bunch of clients have asked us recently, how long do we think the situation will last, and how soon will we start seeing materials moving a little more smoother than they are now? Do we have any intel about this? What can you say about this?
I think this situation is not going to end soon, as far as we can see from here. Iran have been bracing for ground level war, and US and Israel are not going to back down anytime soon. Further, if I add one more serious fact, I'm afraid Houthis in Yemen start supporting Iran in the Red Sea. This is the another choke point. If I show you in the graph, let me come back to the. Okay, so here you can see there is another choke point that is called Bab al-Mandeb Strait. Here, this is the Yemen, and Houthis rebels are placed here. And just like the last year, Red Sea crisis happened. Houthis rebels started attacking vessels from here, and those that led to high prices of freight, but also uh, just give me a second. There is some technical issue. Okay, so I was talking about the Suez Canal. This is the another choke point. If I show you in the graph here, this is the Strait of Hormuz, which is already in crisis. This is the Red Sea, which might come into the crisis if the Houthi rebels start attacking the vessels here, and that will block the way to Suez Canal from here. And if I recall, the last time Suez Canal crisis happened, it was this. First of all, let me tell you the importance of Suez Canal in the global trade market. Suez Canal actually contains 30% of the global trade. It means the 30% of the overall global trade happens through Suez Canal. So choking this point will be a disaster for the global trade situation, because this will not only reduce the trade of other commodities, but also further paralyze the supply of crude oil. And in some cases, some analysts have argued that the prices of crude oil might breach $200 per barrel. That will be a disaster. That will increase the inflation in every other countries, including Asia, including Europe, including Middle East, and America as well. And one more thing I want to add from here. There is Yanbu NGL pipeline here, which passes through here. So most of the oil wells are here for Saudi Arabia, which produce around 20 million barrel a day crude oil on a daily basis. And via this route, via this pipeline, they can manage 5 to 6 million barrel a day of crude oil that they have been doing. They have started rerouting the crude oil supplies from here, which can pass through here and reach the destination, that is Asia in most of the cases. So if this choke point get closed, then that will be another disaster for the global polymer market. So with this, there is some other things I want to mention. Like if I talk about companies that are getting benefit from the price change or the crisis, uh, I was talking about USA, that USA player might get benefit from the crisis, but not only USA, there are Asian players, there are other players who are not actually has uh, faced the shock wave of this price increase, but have already implemented price increase. Like we used to see, if I talk about just in India, we used to see RIL, that is Reliance, and other manufacturing companies that used to increase their prices on a bi-monthly basis, like in a fortnight basis, by around 1,000 or 2,000 rupees per metric ton. But now they have started revising, like if I talk about RIL has increased polypropylene prices by 18,000 per metric ton within a week. That is huge because they never used to do the same thing before. However, I don't think they have directly have faced the shockwave of this crisis now because the $100 a barrel crude oil has reached. And apart, other than RIL, there are other companies which has increased. Like if I talk about PVC prices have been increased by 6,000 rupees per metric ton, and PET prices have increased 3,000 rupees per metric ton. Polystyrene prices have been increased. And if I talk about the players that have reduced their plant run rate, so I have a few examples here. Ocean Plastics in Taiwan have reduced their run rate. And
Excuse me, Ravinder, is
yeah,
there a different slide you want to throw up here? We're still on the geopolitical overview slide.
no. I'm just talking about the price change. This is, we can be here. No, that will work. So I was talking about the Ocean Plastics that is in Taiwan, that is a prominent producer of PVC, have reduced their run rate for PVC production. At the same time, Taiwan VCM has reduced the VCM production. Shin-Etsu in Japan, CGPC in Taiwan, LG Chem, Yinshin Petrochemicals. These are the companies which has reduced their production by 50%. That is huge because China is one of the major exporter of these polymer and other stuffs to other countries. And if the plant shutdowns happens here, if the run rate is reduced here, the prices will further increase and might not get to its previous level anytime soon. So with this, let's go to the last Q&A session if there is anyone who want to ask the question.
I do have a question from another client that couldn't make it. And it is, we see the current situation is not great and it could get worse, as you talked about the other choke point and the pipeline. What's the worst case scenario? Is there anything else that could disrupt the global supply chain, Ravinder?
Mark, as I mentioned earlier, that is the another choke point I talked about, the Bab al-Mandeb, where the Houthi rebels stays, and they may start because they are on back foot currently, and they have said that they might start supporting Iran in upcoming months or week. If they started doing this, then the crude oil prices will reach 200 per barrel mark, and that will be a disastrous. And that will, I don't think anything worse can happen than this.
Okay, so that's basically worst case is if the pipeline across, I can't remember what it is, Saudi Arabia, gets bombed, and that the strait into the Red Sea starts undergoing the same sort of pressures that is going through the Strait of Hormuz from Iran, but it would be the Houthis on the other side. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we have okay. Someone in there had how much percentage of PET prices are expected to increase in India?
If I see the current case, I think that might increase up to 50%. You can expect a 50% increase in the PET prices in coming month, or by the end of this month.
Are there any other questions out there that people would like to type into the chat? Got another one. Which regions are benefiting the most from this disruption?
For now, I can say the USA might be in a better position because the freight rate are not rising as the other trade routes we have seen here. And also, if when we were talking about the feedstock prices, it shows the comparative stability than the other major producing countries. So I think the for current market situation, USA is in a better position than the other countries.
Okay. And I don't see any other questions here, Ravinder. I'd like to thank those folks who attended. And this presentation will be available as a repeat on our LinkedIn and our YouTube channel. Thank you, everybody. And for the folks on this side of the pond that are here with me, have a great day.